Hey, I'm Dr. Jen Landa, OBGYN, hormone and anti-aging expert, and Chief Medical Officer of Bodylogic MD. But even more important than any of that to me is that I'm a rock star mom and a super wife. Or at least I'm trying to be those things, just like so many of you are trying to be so many things to so many people. The most important thing that you need more of in your life right now is energy. People call me the Energizer Bunny now, but I will tell you, it wasn't always that way for me. When I was about 28 years old and I was in my OBGYN residency finishing it up, and I was only married about 3 years, I started to lose what I call my spark. Because I lost my energy, but so much more went along with it. As a matter of fact, the first thing that I noticed to go was my sex drive. I was, like I said, only married a few years. And one time we were on vacation and things hadn't been going that well. And we were trying to get intimate and it just wasn't working. And my husband started yelling, "What is going on with you? Don't you love me anymore? Aren't you attracted to me anymore?" And honestly, nothing could be further from the truth. I just felt like there was something wrong with me because I just had no urge to have sex anymore. And I felt like there was just something wrong with me, but here I am, an OBGYN, and I had no idea what to even do. And so we just kind of muddled through, and as things went along, of course, we wound up, eventually I got pregnant with my beautiful son, Jonathan. And after I had the baby, it was when I started noticing things going even more downhill, even though after a few months he started to sleep through the night and I'd recovered from delivery and all of that, but I was still exhausted. And I found that no matter how much I slept, my energy just never came back. And it was awful. I felt like the worst mom in the world because honestly, I had no energy to play with my little son. And I barely even felt like I could care to play games with him and get down on the floor. All I wanted to ever do was sleep. And my husband and my son were kind of left to fend for themselves. And I felt like I was a terrible mom. Work had always been the one place where things were really good. And I always felt like I was great at rushing in and saving the day, as OBGYNs often do. But there was this time where it just started to get worse and worse. And I felt like I couldn't handle the stress anymore. And one night I was called into the hospital for an emergency C-section. And I remember I was driving to the hospital, gripping the steering wheel, overcome by this fear that what if I didn't make it in time? What if I didn't get the baby out in time? What if I got sued? And what if in the process I lost my house? And things were just, it was so weird because I just couldn't handle stress anymore the way that I used to. And luckily I got to the hospital and everything was fine. But I'll never forget, after that delivery, I just laid my head down on the nurse's desk and I cried and cried because I felt like I was a terrible wife. I wasn't having sex very much and I wasn't very into it when I was. I was doing it out of guilt, basically. And I felt like a terrible mom. And I felt like would my son grow up to hate me because I never wanted to play with him. And then I felt like I was not even doing my job well. Like the one place where I'd always been great, I wasn't great anymore. I couldn't handle the stress anymore. I was afraid all the time. And I just wondered, what would I do? What could I do? And it was so strange. I was a doctor and I had no idea how to cure myself. First, I checked all the normal blood tests like thyroid and blood count, like maybe some of you have done, and saw that everything was normal. And I didn't know who to go to even try to fix the problem. So I actually started looking for the answers on my own. And that's when I started studying regenerative medicine and anti-aging medicine and functional medicine. And I learned all that I could about what causes women's sex drive, their energy, and I learned all about hormones, bioidentical hormones, and nutrition, and exercise, and supplements, and I learned ways that I could help myself. And it was amazing to me because they were all things that I hadn't learned as an OBGYN. but I was able to learn because of all these specialized training programs that I went to. And it was amazing because I learned how to cure myself. And then what I realized is that there were so many other women out there like me who were suffering. And so I started to use these techniques with my patients, and they started to get better too. But it is no wonder that so many women are suffering out there, because there is truly an exhaustion epidemic going on. You can see women are just have more on their plate than they've ever had before. You know, believe me, I am thankful to our foremothers and sisters who broke the glass ceiling and made it possible for me to be the doctor I am today. But at the same time, it put this burden on us, feeling like we have to be able to do it all and have it all. You know, so many women are becoming the primary breadwinner now. 37% of women are out there earning more than men. Yet at home, we're still doing more than 50%. And unfortunately, we're only earning 80% of our male counterparts doing all of this. So are we exhausted? And is there an exhaustion epidemic? Yeah, damn right. Of course there is. Are you kidding me? We are exhausted. And we think we can do it all. We're told we can do it all, but can we? Well, the answer is, yeah, we can if we learn certain secrets. And these are the secrets that I learned for myself. And then I started to teach my patients. And then I wrote my book, The Sex Drive Solution for Women, and then word really got out. And even Dr. Oz asked me to be on his show to tell him about my fatigue solutions and how I healed my own energy crisis and how I was doing it for my patients. And that's why I'm so excited, because I want to bring this information to you. If you're part of the exhaustion epidemic now, I want to help teach you what I learned. And some of the things that I learned are that there are physical energy robbers. There are hidden energy robbers, things that are happening every day in your body that you don't know about. And we're going to get to those in just a few minutes. So what about you? Have you lost your spark? Are you feeling cranky, exhausted? If you are, I know that you're finding it harder to remember things. You can't concentrate. And it's depressing, because then you don't have enough energy to work out. You don't stay fit. I know that's what happened to me when I lost my spark. Damn, I started wearing mom bathing suits and mom clothes. And I felt like I just kind of passed this threshold in life where I was no longer a sparky, cute young woman, but I was a mom and I needed to act like one. And I was kind of boring. And if you have fallen into this rut, you know exactly what I mean, because you just don't have the energy to make good food for yourself, to get to the gym, to do the hobbies you once enjoyed. And that's what losing your spark is all about. And if you've lost your spark, you know that energy is the most important thing that you need more of right now. And I want to help you get there. Because if you don't find more energy, what's going to happen to you? You're going to stay stuck in this rut where you are now. And that would really stink, because then you're never going to be able to pursue all these great things that you want to do in your life. And the worst of all is that your relationships suffer. Like my relationship with my husband did, like my relationship with my son did. You don't want to be known as the mean mommy. I know that. I know you don't want your kids to grow up thinking that. And I know you don't want to be the cold fish wife. You want so much more for yourself. And you know what? You deserve it. You deserve more for yourself. So I've developed 5 basic steps to help you get your spark back. I know it sounds like, how could it possibly be that easy? But it really is that simple. 5 simple steps. Okay, now I say they're simple steps, but they do take some work. I'm not saying that this is going to be that you're totally off scot-free and I'm going to give you 5 magic wands and there you go, you're going to have energy again. No, this is a program. This is a program that I work every single day. And you know what? That doesn't mean my energy is perfect every day. Far from it, definitely. I fall back on my program and I have days where my energy suffers. just like anybody else. But you know what? The great news is I know the steps I need to take to get it back on track, and I can do it, and I can do it fast. And I want to share those with you because when you get your energy back, you're going to have energy back to do anything that you want to do, to get yourself in better shape. You know what? I'm almost 46 years old, and I'm in better shape now than I was when I was 25. If you can believe it, I have more defined abs than I did when I was 25. So I'm telling you, if I could do it, anything is possible. And if you have more energy, you're going to have more energy to connect with the people in your life, to have a better relationship with your partner. If you don't have a partner, to get a partner, or better relationships with your kids, with your parents, maybe better able to get ahead at work, or whatever it is that you want in life, you're going to be able to do it better if you have energy. And I'm telling you, you can come back from burnout. The things that I did, the things that work for me, they can work for you too. They've worked for hundreds and hundreds of my patients. And I really want to spread this information to millions of women because millions of us are suffering with that exhaustion epidemic. And it just shouldn't be because there are easy ways out of it. So during this webinar, you're going to find out where your spark went. You're going to find out what are the hidden energy robbers that are crashing your energy. You're going to find out where you are on the energy spectrum. And I'm going to teach you the things that you need to do, the actual 5 steps. I'm going to teach them to you right in this webinar, the 5 steps that you need to get your energy back on track. Now, I know we've been talking about the fact that we're all busy, we're all crazy busy, and I know you might be saying to yourself, well, this is great, and I really wish I could listen to this whole thing, but I'm sold. I know that I need more energy right now, but I need to run. So listen, if you are already in and you know you need this, then click on the button below and you can get more information about registering for the Endless Energy program now. 3 weeks to Endless Energy, and registration's closing soon, so I encourage you to act now before you close this window. For those of you who are able to stick with me, I am so excited to tell you more. First of all, I want to make sure that you take the quiz because the quiz is going to tell you where you are on the energy spectrum. I want you to find out if you're burning up, burning low, or burning out. Those are the 3 stages to losing your spark. So believe it or not, it doesn't all happen at once. It happens gradually, and it happens over these 3 stages. So burning up, burning low, and burning out. So the first one that I want to talk to you about is burning up. And I want to introduce you to someone. Her name is Frantic Franny. So maybe you're a Frantic Franny, or maybe you know a Frantic Franny, but Frantic Franny is the kind that's always running around, overwhelmed, feeling like she can never relax. She almost seems like she's driven by a motor. She's just going and going and going. And if you're a Frantic Franny, you probably crave sugar, and it probably becomes so overwhelming it's almost impossible to avoid the sugar. And you probably find it really hard to relax. You might be the kind that you go on vacation, and if you go on a 7-day vacation, by the 7th day is when you're finally like, oh, finally relaxing. If that description fits you, and you're like a Frantic Franny, then you are burning up. And when you're burning up, that means that you might tend to feel anxious more often, never feel like you can really relax. But you might also have energy dips. So as much as you feel frantic and wired, you might also feel tired. For me, when I get stressed out, this is where I tend to go. And I get anxious and wired. I might even feel shaky inside, especially if I have caffeine. And I might feel like I can't get to sleep, or if I get to sleep, I wake up in the middle of the night with my brain thinking. Those things are burning out. If you're like that, then you're burning out. So I said that's what happens to me sometimes when I'm stressed out. Well, if I don't take the time to get control over it, I can become like Drained Donna. I want to introduce you to one of my patients, Drained Donna. Drained Donna feels like she's just living life at 60% capacity. That's what she said to me. life is okay, but it's not what I want for myself. 60% capacity isn't what I want. I feel like I'm constantly pushing a rock uphill all day. I feel like I get a little bit of energy, a little bit of lift in the morning, especially after my coffee, but then I crash down again. And then maybe after lunch I have another little bit of a lift, but then I lose it again. And then I feel like I have to have some sugary snack or some caffeine to keep me going. If this sounds like you, then you're a drained Donna and you're burning low. And if you're burning low, your energy doesn't last. You feel overwhelmed. You feel like you're pushing yourself throughout the day. And for me, if I'm burning up long enough and I continue not to get myself back on track, that's what'll happen to me. I'll start burning low, like drained Donna. And that's what happens to all of us. These energy states, we can move back and forth between these different energy states. That's a really important thing to understand. So finally, I want you to meet exhausted Emma. Exhausted Emma feels tired from the minute she gets up in the morning till the minute she goes to bed at night. Exhausted Emma is one of my patients who felt like she was just barely ever able to get off the couch. She said she dragged herself out of bed, put on a robe, brought her kids to the bus stop, and dragged herself back to the couch, never changed out of the robe, never did her hair, never did her housework. She felt guilty because she wasn't able to do anything around her house. And believe me, this is what I was like when I had my energy crisis. And this is what we call burning out. So if you're burning out, you'll find that you're always tired, you're always exhausted, you have salt cravings, you feel depressed because you feel trapped, like you just can't get out of this energy rut. You might even feel guilty because other family members, like exhausted Emma, half the time her husband would bring in takeout food or cook dinner for her because she wasn't able to do it. And she felt horrible because she wasn't able to take care of her family. Another thing that happens to people who are burning out is they get sick a lot. They tend to catch everything that's around. So I really want you to think about it. Are you a frantic Franny? Are you burning up? Or are you a drained Donna? Are you burning low? Or are you an exhausted Emma? Are you burning out? These are the 3 energy stages. And keep in mind, you might move back and forth between them, and you can move back and forth between them over the period of days or weeks or months, or you may stay stuck in one for a long time. So now that we covered the 3 energy states, I want to start talking about what's really zapping your energy. I know you think it's your stress, and you know what it is. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're running around getting your kids from place to place. You're trying to be, like I said before, trying to be a rock star mom, a super wife, a great employee. Maybe you have elderly parents that you're caring for. There are so many things that are stressors, that are tough things going on in your life. Maybe you've got some financial crisis going on and that's stressing you out. And of course, all of these things are stressful. And all of these stressful things zap your energy. But there's more. There are hidden energy robbers that are stealing your energy. And those are the things that I want to teach you about now. All right. So for the science geeks like me, you're going to love this. But if you don't like science and you think this is going to be boring, no, I've got a surprise for you. This is not going to be boring. This is essential to why you are tired. So listen up, okay? We're going to have some fun with some science. But I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to try to make it painless, I promise. All right, so we've all heard about hormones. Hormones are like a dirty word these days, right? You read in the newspapers and magazines that you shouldn't take hormones and hormones are bad, but that's crazy talk. You need hormones. Hormones send messages from your brain to parts of your body, and then from parts of your body, like your thyroid glands, your ovaries, back to the brain. Without hormones, I'm sorry, we wouldn't be doing anything. So before you think that you're done with hormones, try again. You need hormones for everything you do in your life. Hormones have functions in every part of our bodies. And when your hormone levels go low, yeah, you lose your energy. It's no wonder. Now, you may be sitting here thinking to yourself, well, I'm not in menopause yet, so I don't have any problems with these hormones she's talking about. Well, I got news for you. When I started to lose my spark when I was only 28, I had a hormone problem. My biggest hormone problem was I was on birth control pills, and birth control pills can suck away your free testosterone. I know! Can you believe it? And I was on those suckers from when I was 15 years old. Like so many of us get put on because of our cycle or other reasons. And I was on those things for so many years. And slowly over the years, birth control pills can chip away at your hormones. Well, guess what? It's not just the birth control pills that were doing it. It's always more than one thing. And there's a whole bunch of things that come together. So, chief hormone that I want to talk about here, though, is cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol is also your fight or flight hormone. Cortisol is also your get up and go hormone. So basically, cortisol is in charge of helping you deal with stress, right? So when you have a fight or flight situation is when you really feel it. You feel that cortisol and adrenaline are released, and those are intimately related. So if you feel like you're almost going to hit the guy in front of you because he stopped short, jerk, what happens? Your heart starts pounding out of your chest and you're freaking out and you're like, oh my God, right? That's cortisol. That's cortisol helping you deal with a really big stress. Well, cortisol is really important to this whole picture. So now what I want to teach you about is I want to teach you the 5 hidden energy robbers, the reasons why you are crashing. Are you ready? Ready to learn why you're crashing? All right, well, here it is. CRASH. CRASH is an acronym. CRASH stands for the 5 hidden energy robbers. So the first one, C, is for cortisol overload and depletion. The R is for reactions, which are food reactions. The A is for adrenal toxins. The S is for the sugar roller coaster. And the H is for hormones. So I want to tell you more about each one of these because these are so important to what is zapping your energy. So we talked about the things that we know are zapping our energy, right? Our demanding bosses, the economy, our family, all of those things. But these are the hidden energy robbers. The physical stresses that are happening on your body every day that are taking up basically your stress bandwidth. If you picture your body as having a bandwidth, right? An ability to deal with stress, and you only have a certain amount of bandwidth available. Well, if some of this is being taken up by your physical stresses, it's sucking away energy that you need to deal with all the other stresses that we talked about, the emotional stresses like your family, like your boss, etc., etc. So let's talk about the C in CRASH, cortisol overload and depletion. All right, I know some of you out there are going, I know, Dr. Jen, cortisol's not good for me. Too much cortisol is bad. I know that too much cortisol causes me to gain weight and have sugar cravings. And you know what? Yeah, you're totally right. But the thing you might not realize about cortisol is that low cortisol is really bad for you too. When you have low cortisol, you can't handle stress. Stress makes you more tired. And it makes you feel like you can't handle anything. It makes you really easily overwhelmed. So cortisol's like Goldilocks, right? Too hot, too cold, just right. You don't want too much cortisol and you don't want too little, because we move these 3 energy states that I told you about tie in right here. So when you've got too much cortisol, you're burning up like frantic Franny. But if you're burning up for long enough, your body can't keep up with the stress anymore. And like I say with most people are living at 80% car accident. That, like when that guy stops in front of you, jerk, that is happening to most of us all day long, every day. Well, if you've got these hidden physical energy robbers happening at the same time, you don't have enough stress resilience, enough stress reserve left over to deal with it. I think of it as like I said before, like bandwidth or like a bank account. And you always have to pay attention to, are you making as many deposits as you are withdrawals? Well, the good news is this program, I'm going to teach you tonight, I'm going to teach you how to make deposits into the bank so that you have money or stress tolerance to withdraw, energy to withdraw when you need it. So that was the C in crash, cortisol overload and depletion. Next, we're going to go into reactions. These are food reactions, okay? Now, I didn't say allergies, because you might be sitting there saying to yourself, well, Dr. Jen, I don't have any allergies. My lips don't blow up when I eat shrimp, or I don't get hives when I eat peanuts or strawberries. Well, you know what? That's an allergy, which is totally different than a food reaction. Food reactions are reactions that you have to foods, but they happen really slowly over time. So it can take about 3 days for a reaction to show up. So these reactions are really interesting because what happens is there are certain foods that we eat that can lead to us having gastrointestinal inflammation or gut inflammation. And gut inflammation can lead to a situation called leaky gut, but basically all of this can affect your energy. How? Because gut inflammation needs cortisol to come along to put out the fire of the gut inflammation. And so you see on here gluten and dairy. Gluten and dairy are the most common offenders that are causing this gut inflammation, these food reactions. Well, you might be saying to yourself now, Dr. Jen, I don't have bloating or diarrhea or constipation or gas or any of those gastrointestinal symptoms, so I don't have a food reaction. I don't have a food sensitivity. Wrong. Think again. Let me tell you how you may be experiencing your food sensitivity. I know this sounds totally crazy, but if you have a food sensitivity to dairy or gluten, you might have a stuffy nose. Yes, you might think you have environmental allergies, but you may in fact have a food sensitivity. Or what about crappy skin? Acne and rosacea are caused by food sensitivity. Joint pain, if you can believe it, I've seen so many of my patients' joint pain go away when they stop eating gluten. It's insane. So I know you might be saying to yourself, oh, gluten-free, it's just the latest fad. Gwyneth Paltrow and all these other actresses are all into it, but it's just the freaking grapefruit diet all over again. No, I'm telling you, gluten sensitivity, dairy sensitivity, these things are hard science. Now, I know you might be having another thought. You might be saying to yourself, what are you talking about? Dr. Jen, we've been eating these foods for hundreds of years and nothing ever happened. You're right. Absolutely. But the thing that you might not realize, which I didn't realize until I started studying this, it's kind of crazy. Our food supply has completely changed in the last 70 years. That's right. Since World War II, there's been this industrialization of food that has happened that has completely changed our food supply. And one of the things it's done is it's added dairy and gluten to so many foods that we eat every day. All the packaged foods. There really wasn't food in a package way back 70 years ago, right? And the problem is we're eating all of these packaged foods and they all have really high gluten content, really high dairy content. So it's not necessarily the really whole grain, beautiful bread that your great grandmother ate or the cow, the cow's milk straight from the farm that your great grandmother ate. No, we're talking about stuff that gets packaged with antibiotics and hormones and high gluten content and high dairy content. Our food is completely different and it's completely dysfunctional for us. So I know the other thing you're probably thinking is, oh my God, you're telling me I have to give up these foods, Dr. Jen. These are my favorite foods. Well, you know what? It's true. It's because they're in everything. Believe it or not, it sounds kind of crazy, but because they're in everything, we get addicted to them. So yeah, you're probably addicted right now to gluten and dairy, especially if you're sitting there crying thinking, oh my God, you're probably addicted to these foods and they're probably doing really nasty things to your insides. The really good news is that there are easy ways to get off these foods. And I am telling you, you do not have to give up your favorites. I have not given up bread, pancakes, pasta. Now, granted, I don't eat a lot of these things because if I did, no matter whether they were gluten-free or not, I'd get fat, fat, fat. But I don't go out and spend a whole bunch of money on gluten-free foods in the supermarket either. There are lots of great ways to have the foods that you want so that you don't have to suffer and you don't have to freak out and you don't have to spend a ton of money. So next, that was the R in crash. That was the reactions, right? So we covered C and R, now A for adrenal toxins. I know some of you are going to freak out a little bit because you are coffee fiends. And I know you are because, boy, oh boy, I asked recently on my Facebook about people's coffee habits and whew, some of you are drinking way too much coffee. Okay, but I know the reason you are, because your energy sucks, right? So you're drinking coffee, trying to boost your energy, but what you don't realize is that the caffeine is hurting your adrenals. And something that I fall prey to, a situation that's a really bad cycle, and this is when I start burning up. So if I start burning up and I start getting anxious, in the evening, I want to have a glass or two of wine to relax, right? So I have my glass or two of wine, I relax, I unwind, I feel a little better, fall asleep okay. But what happens? 3 a.m. It's like a freaking alarm goes off and I feel like I'm wide awake and jumpy and I can't stop my brain from thinking. So I don't sleep the rest of the night. And then what do? I wake up exhausted because, of course, I'm finally ready to fall asleep at like 6 a.m. when my alarm's ready to go off. So I'm so tired, dragging myself out of bed, and what am I going to reach for? Caffeine. And I get into a really lousy cycle. Alcohol at night, caffeine in the morning. I know you know what I'm talking about. And if you do know what I'm talking about, you're making things better in the short run, but you're making things way worse in the long run. You're causing all kinds of, you're consuming adrenal toxins. Water's so good for you. Gotta drink lots of water. That's another thing. Water is the solution to pollution. We always say in medicine, the solution to pollution is dilution. So drinking lots and lots of water, especially when you drink too much alcohol and caffeine, are really good things, or is a really good thing to do. Just so happened that I needed a sip of water, but I figured I'd throw that in because it's helpful. All right, so you need to know that alcohol and caffeine can be causing some of your problems because they are adrenal toxins. So that's your A in crash. Your S in crash, the sugar roller coaster. So if you eat sugar, your blood sugar goes up, and then what goes up must come down, crashing down. And then what happens when blood sugar crashes down? Your adrenals kick in and try to make cortisol. And so then whether you're burning up, then you're going to make lots and lots of cortisol, or if you're burning low or burning out, your body's going to be demanding cortisol, but you're not going to be able to make it. The sugar roller coaster is sucking energy out of you that you don't have. This is one of the hugest things that I see sucking people's energy. And when you fix it, which it's not really hard to do, you're going to feel so much better. Okay, so I know you might be saying to yourself, well, Dr. Jen, I don't eat sugar. That's not a big deal for me. Well, let me tell you, carbohydrates convert very quickly to sugar. So if you eat bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, even some other foods can, even sweet potatoes can, even brown rice can, if you eat too much of it, those foods can raise your blood sugar too and then cause it to come crashing down. Now, I'm not saying you can't eat any of these foods, but you've got to know what the right amounts are and you've got to know what to combine it with, because the sugar roller coaster is one of the big things zapping your energy, sucking your energy. Finally, the H in crash is hormone imbalance. So what happens when you make too much cortisol when you're burning up, or if you're burning low and burning out and you can't make enough cortisol, you've got a big problem with your hormones, because all of the hormones come from the same place, including cortisol. And what happens is cortisol is greedy. Cortisol is your emergency hormone. Your body's going to deal with emergencies before it deals with anything else. So your body will do anything it can to make cortisol if it needs cortisol. And if you're, like most people, and running around an 80% car accident all day long every day, your body's going to try to make cortisol. And you know what's going to suffer? Your other hormones, your good hormones, your happy hormones, For instance, progesterone. Progesterone is like the unsung hero of women's hormones. Everybody talks about estrogen, but you know what? Progesterone for most women is where it's at. Because progesterone, well, don't get me wrong, estrogen's really good too, and we need that too. But progesterone starts to go down naturally in women as we age. And when I say age, I'm talking about even starting in your 30s. But I even see women in their 20s with really low progesterone just because they're stressed out. So you need to reverse some of these stressors to get your progesterone back, because progesterone is your calming hormone. Progesterone helps you feel less overwhelmed, helps you sleep better, it helps you feel more relaxed, it helps you be a nicer person, really. It helps your moods a lot. It's an amazing hormone, and just imagine what happens when you're burning up, and you're overwhelmed all the time, and then you don't make enough progesterone, so you don't have enough calming hormone either. So, oh my goodness, it's not a pretty picture. So another hormone that cortisol sacrifices is testosterone. Now, testosterone, you might be thinking to yourself, Dr. Jen, that's a guy hormone. And you're right, testosterone is a hormone that guys have a lot of, but we have it too. And it's really important. Testosterone is like your vitality hormone. Testosterone is energy, memory, and focus, and drive, and motivation. It helps keep your mood stable. Like, well, I've had low testosterone a lot in my life because of the birth control pills, like I mentioned. So when you're like watching an AT&T commercial and the kid's going away to college and you're sitting there bawling and everybody else is like, what's wrong with you? Or worse yet, some of my patients tell me about sitting in a board meeting, and they're suddenly, when their work is criticized, they're suddenly crying and they're mortified. That's low testosterone. Testosterone is women's emotional shield. Not to mention, of course, it's good for your sex drive and orgasms. And it also helps you put on muscle and burn fat. Who doesn't want more of this hormone? Well, bad news is if you're really stressed out, if you're doing things that are causing you to burn up, burn low, or burn out, then you're sacrificing progesterone and testosterone. Because when cortisol goes up, progesterone and testosterone go down. So when the stress hormone goes up, the yummy hormones go down. And that's bad for everything in your body. Of course, your energy, but it's also bad for your skin. Cortisol thins your skin, it thins your hair, it thins your nails. It does all these bad things to you. And progesterone helps build you up. Progesterone and testosterone helps build bone and help improve your mood and do all these great things. And cortisol's kind of just the opposite. So you've got to get control over these hidden energy robbers. So remember, crash is why you're crashing. So cortisol overload and depletion, reactions, adrenal toxins, sugar roller coaster, hormone imbalance, these are the reasons that you're crashing. These are the 5 hidden energy robbers. All right, so now you know the 3 energy states and you know the 5 hidden energy robbers. So now I bet you want to know the solution. What can I do for you? What can I tell you that's going to help you get over this? I have created 5 steps that you do in a 3-week program, and that's the 3-week Endless Energy program. Are you ready? You ready to find out more? All right, well, here it is. 5D steps. The first step is to drink a protein shake in the morning and to take supplements. The second D is for dine every 3 to 4 hours. The next D is for ditch sugar. The next D is for diminish alcohol and caffeine. And the final D is for drop gluten and dairy. I know. You right now are probably freaking out and saying, Dr. Jen, are you crazy? I can't do that. And you want me to do that in 3 weeks? All right, calm down. First of all, I want you to do it in 3 weeks, but you know what? You're going to do this on your own schedule. And no matter how long it takes you, each step along the way is going to help you. And the thing about the program and everything I want to teach you is I want to teach you that it's not as hard as it seems. Okay, right now, so that we can kind of break it down and take the fear out of this thing, I want you to sit down with a piece of paper and identify which one or two do you think are going to be the hardest. I'll tell you, for me, ditching sugar has been one of the hardest for me. And I know you might be saying to yourself, well, Dr. Jen, yeah, you're Dr. Jen. Of course you don't eat sugar and it's not a big deal for you. But no. All right, let me let you in on a little secret. I have really crappy sugar genes. Both of my parents have been struggled with overweight their whole lives. They both have high blood pressure and they both have diabetes, which means I have really bad sugar genes, which means I crave sugar. I crave sugar just like you do, maybe worse than you do. And you know what? I've found ways around it. And I am telling you, I used to be addicted to all different kinds of sugar, anything from candy. Then, of course, I went to artificial sweeteners, but those are no good either. We've got to ditch those too. But I am telling you, I have found ways to make this doable. Dropping gluten and dairy was pretty daunting for me as well. My friend JJ Virgin told me that I needed to try dropping gluten and dairy because I was really aggravated that there was some stubborn pounds that I couldn't get off. And she said, you've got to try it. You've got to try it. Well, you know what? I found out that it was not only the key to keeping the weight off, but it was the key to my energy as well. And I figured out ways that I can still, when I have a craving for bread, I can still have bread. I can still have pancakes. I can still have all the foods that I love, including chocolate pudding and whipped cream. How cool is that? And those are two foods that I have been addicted to in the past. So let me tell you, no matter what you're thinking right now, that you're freaking out, you're scared, I can get you past it. I can teach you how to make it easy. And that's what the 3-week program is all about. All right, so step one. In step one, I want to teach you to drink a shake. I am telling you that drinking a shake, or at least eating within an hour of getting up and having protein, is one of the most important things that you can do to get your energy back. Now, why a protein shake? You know what? Because it's fast and it's easy and we're all in a hurry. Drinking a protein shake has been a big key for me. But you know what? I get so upset because I have patients who come to my office all the time and they tell me, Dr. Jen, I drink a smoothie and it's so good for me and it's got all these fruits and it's got all this and it's got all that and it's got soy protein. And you know what? There are all these things that people are adding to their smoothies and their protein shakes that are sabotaging their energy and their weight. And it really upsets me. It really gets me crazy. So I'm not going to leave you hanging. Of course not. I want you to make sure to download right now your free Endless Energy Shake Guide. It's going to be in the link right below. We've given you a link to download that PDF, to download that guide, so you know what your shake should be like. Now, because there were so many shakes out there that were problematic, either they tasted crappy or they had the wrong things in them, I went and made my own. I made Dr. Jen's Endless Energy Shakes, and I love it. I have a regular shake and I have a vegan shake in case you're vegan. And I just love these shakes. And I had to include a picture of one of my favorite patients here. She gave me permission. Millie is 88 years old, if you can believe it. Doesn't she look amazing? Well, this is the after on Millie, because when Millie first came to me, she told me her energy was just gone. She was depressed because she lived in this great seniors community. And believe it or not, at 88, a year or two prior to that, she had really enjoyed a lot of different activities. She loved going to water aerobics. She loved playing cards. She had all kinds of things she loved to do. But in the year or two before she came to see me, she said she just didn't feel like doing anything anymore. And half the time she would just sit in her house and she was depressed and she was kind of almost waiting to die. And I was hoping I could do something to get her some energy back, because I was kind of her last hope, and that it was just so sad. So I walked Millie through this program, yes, at 88 years old. And you know what? Her favorite part is the morning shake. She calls it her power shake, and she will not leave home without it. And she has resumed her 3 days a week of activities, seeing her friends. She has literally a new lease on life. She told me that I changed her whole life. And you know how gratifying that is, how amazing that is. And so I just want to tell you that if Millie can do it, you can do it. You can turn your energy around. So again, why a shake? Because honestly, most breakfast foods that Americans consume are really crappy, really terrible. And there are so many people who think that they're doing the right thing. They say to me, "Oh, Dr. Jen, I have a bran muffin because I know that's healthy for me. And, I have a coffee at Starbucks because I hear that coffee is good for me. So I have like a Frappuccino or whatever." A bran muffin and a Frappuccino is horrible for your energy, horrible for your weight too. Let's not forget that. But there are so many foods that are terrible for you and are sucking your energy. And I want you to think right now, what are you eating for breakfast? Or are you even eating breakfast? Skipping is one of the worst things that you can do for your energy. So that's why step 1 is to drink a protein shake, because it's quick and it's easy. And I drink a protein shake at least 5 days a week, even when I travel. I just put it in a little Ziploc baggie. So super simple to bring with me. Love it. So the next thing that is super important for getting your energy back is to learn about the power of adaptogens. What does that mean, adaptogens? Adaptogens help your body basically adapt to stress. They help your body deal with stress. They're kind of like putting deposits into that energy bank that I told you about. Remember I said you want to put deposits in, and one of the things that you can do is really to support your body with supplements. So the supplements are really interesting. These adaptogens, they're herbs, basically, most of them, that help your body adapt to stress. And the really interesting thing is, though, that there are different adaptogens that you need for whether you're burning up, burning low, or burning out. So people who are burning up can't take the same ones as people who are burning out, because it will send your energy in the wrong direction. People who are burning up, if they took the same supplements as somebody who was burning out, people who are burning up would get even more revved up and even more anxious. So that's obviously not going to be right. And so you have to know that there are specific types of supplements to take. And I've created supplement kits for burning up, burning low, and burning out. So take the quiz and find out which you are and which kit's right for you and which adaptogens are right for you. And in the 3 weeks to Endless Energy program, I provide a guide, a supplement guide, so that you can know exactly which nutrients are going to be right for you, depending on where you're at, which energy stage you're in. Okay, the next D, dine. So how you eat is super important to getting your energy back. I already told you what you eat in the morning is probably the most important thing, but then what you eat throughout the day is super important. So eating every 3 to 4 hours is very important because it helps to improve that sugar roller coaster. It helps to make sure that you don't get really low blood sugar, okay? But then there are so many more nuances to this, and I had a hard time even explaining this to my patients in the office, who I spend an hour with when I see them in their initial visit. So much so that I wanted to put this program together for my patients, but then I realized it's so powerful that I want this information to go out to millions of you. I want you to have this in your hands so you know what to eat, when to eat it, how to combine your foods, how much of each food is okay, and so you know exactly what to eat, what your power foods are, and how to eat them and when to eat them. One of the things that was really surprising to me to learn over the years is that fat is indeed our friend. I don't know if you just saw the cover of Time magazine just recently. They started saying that exactly this, that fat is our friend. You know, I was totally part of that low fat craze, and Snackwell's cookies became my best friends. Well, that was totally wrong, because those foods were packed with sugar and they got us on that sugar roller coaster. So if you eat low fat food, just know that it either has sugar or artificial sweeteners in it that are keeping you on the sugar roller coaster and sucking away your energy. And that we need fat. Fat is good for our brain, but we want healthy fats. So healthy fats like what you see here, like from almonds. Your brain is made of fat, and you need healthy fats to keep it going, to keep your brain energized. So don't avoid the healthy fats. Next step, step 3. This is my hard one I told you about, ditch sugar. It is amazing how many bad things sugar is doing to us. It's definitely sucking your energy. But not only that, if I can maybe appeal to your vanity, sugar cross-links collagen, so it messes up your skin. They're calling diabetes, they're coining a new type of diabetes called type 3 diabetes, and that's all about dementia and what sugar is doing to your brain. Sugar is destroying us, and we have to learn to get off sugar, to ditch sugar and artificial sweeteners. Because if you do, your skin's going to improve, your memory is going to improve, everything about your life is going to improve, and certainly your energy is going to get better. Now, I know it's hard, so I'm going to tell you this is one of my secret weapons. Lo Han Guo. I know, what did she just say? Lo Han Guo. It's also known as monk fruit. But this form by New Naturals, these Lo Han Guo drops are my favorite kind because they come in this little dropper bottle like you see on the slide. And you just drop, such a little bit goes a long way. So you can get this bottle in your health food store, you can order it online. Now, the little bottle is pricey, but I'm telling you, a little goes a long way. So this little bottle will last you for months, making sweets that you can eat, sweets that will not jack your blood sugar, sweets that won't put you on the sugar roller coaster. Because amazingly enough, this Lo Han Guo has been used for hundreds of years in Asia to treat diabetes. So it's a sweetener, but it's used to treat diabetes because it doesn't raise your blood sugar. I even got to introduce this to Dr. Oz on his show, and he loved it. He was so excited about this because it gives us another option in addition to stevia. So I do like stevia, and there's nothing wrong with stevia. Just some people like the taste of Lo Han Guo better. So I make amazing things. Like I make this great dessert with Lo Han Guo, coconut oil, and cocoa powder, and it is just with a little bit of blueberries, and it is just delicious. So I want to teach you about all of these tips and tricks that I use to help me stay away from sugar, stay off the sugar roller coaster, but still satisfy my sweet tooth. By the way, dark chocolate is another one. As long as you're eating 85% or more, no, 70% or more, I'm sorry. 85 is my favorite, but you can work up to 85. Start with 70%. So dark chocolate is not off limits in this program. So the fourth D step, to diminish caffeine and alcohol. So I told you about that cycle that I sometimes get on, having wine to relax at night, caffeine to boost me up in the morning. These are adrenal toxins. You've got to learn what the right amount of caffeine is, the right amount of alcohol. Because I'm not saying you have to give it up altogether, but some of you may need to diminish your amounts to get your energy back. And finally, step 5 is drop gluten and dairy. And that's in the 3rd week of the program. So I know I told you already that you don't have to be afraid of it. I have tons of swaps that I have learned that have helped me stay gluten and dairy free and not even miss it. Because I still can make bread, I can still make pancakes, I can still have pasta, I can still have different types of, well, I'll put cheese in quotes, but things that I love that taste as good as cheese to me. And I've made sour cream and all kinds of yummy dairy things. And like I said, even chocolate pudding and whipped cream that taste awesome. So you will not have to go without your favorites. And like I said, I don't buy expensive gluten-free foods. That's not the way I want you to go out and be gluten-free. I want to teach you all the great things that you can still eat and stay gluten and dairy free. Because you know what? I will tell you, I found that gluten and dairy can be a huge energy suck. If you get into the program, I'm going to tell you about a story of when I almost fell off the back of a motorcycle because of gluten and dairy. I am telling you, I found out those foods suck my energy in a big way, and it's totally worth it to me to stay off them. Now, of course, everybody falls off the wagon once in a while, but I know when I do, I'm going to pay for it. So for the most part, I stick with my gluten and dairy free because I want to have amazing, endless energy all the time. So general food guidelines, basically, if your great-grandmother wouldn't have called it food, don't eat it. Stay away from all those packaged and poorly processed foods that I mentioned to you earlier. And start eating great foods. Eat vegetables, fruits, lean meats like chicken, turkey, fish, nuts, seeds, beans. So before you get worried and say, I'm not doing Dr. Jen's program because there's going to be nothing to eat. Of course I'm going to lose weight because I have nothing to eat. No, you have lots of great choices, and I'm giving you great recipes that you can use to get endless energy. And if you don't believe me, I want you to hear it from some other people who've gone through it. This is a testimonial from a patient of mine named Linda. She told, she was seeing me for a couple of months. She did the program steps and she said she just felt amazing. She lost weight and she wanted to share it with you so that you can know that it's not only me saying it, but tons of my patients have done this too. Let's listen to Linda.
Hi, my name is Linda, and I have just finished meeting with Dr. Jen. This, as it turns out, was my third visit with her, and I was recollecting back to the first time I came in to see her. We had gone through my labs, and she made some suggestions, and I left here feeling a little defeated. It was almost daunting to think that I was going to be giving up gluten or pasta and bread that I love and dropping sugar products. And then on the way home I realized that in 7 days your taste buds change. And so I was going to try it for 7 days and see how I felt. And lo and behold, I was on the right track, and so was she, because I was able easily to drop those items. I was able to adjust my diet because I love fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy meats, organic if I can afford it, and so that's what I did. And it has been almost 6 months now, and the changes are remarkable. I mean, no night sweats. I have actually got the energy back that I should have had to begin with. And we were laughing earlier that I felt like I had flatlined, and now I'm coming back to life. So I just wanted to share my interesting little tips, and you might want to celebrate with me in September. I'll be 67.
Isn't it amazing? 67? Linda, you look awesome. You are one of my heroes. But take it from Linda. She said she left feeling defeated. She left feeling like she'd never be able to make these changes. But she was able to make these changes, and so can you. She said even her hot flashes went away because in the program you learn to rebalance your hormones. You learn to eat the right foods to get your energy back. You learn how to combine foods to get more energy. You learn what supplements are going to work for you, whether you're burning up, burning low, or burning out. And side benefit, you lose weight along the way. If you do this 3 weeks to Endless Energy program, in 3 weeks, you can have the energy to get through your day and to feel great at the end of the day, to really have the energy to cook yourself great meals, connect with your family, to exercise, to enjoy your hobbies again, to feel sharp, focused, motivated, all of those things that you've been missing. It stinks to miss those things, and you deserve better. And that's why I want to officially invite you to the 3 weeks to Endless Energy program. If you'll join me, here's what you'll get. You'll get 3 weekly video conferences with me where I'm going to go through each one of the 5 steps in detail so you understand step by step exactly what you should do and when you should do it. No more guessing. And you're going to get weekly inspiration, emails, and tips from me. And you're going to get access to our 3 weeks to Endless Energy membership site where you'll have guides and PDFs that'll tell you all about what you should eat in each food group, how much you should eat of it. You'll find out where gluten and dairy hide, and you'll find out where sugar's hiding. You'll get all of this information. And the thing I'm probably most excited about is we're going to have a private Facebook group where we can jump on and support each other, swap recipes and favorite swaps, and I can jump in there and answer your questions personally. The Endless Energy program is based on more than 15 years of my research, cutting edge stuff in anti-aging medicine, regenerative medicine, all the time and energy that I've spent learning the ropes in this area, in these fields, and these aren't available from your regular physician, because you know what? I didn't learn this in medical school, and I didn't learn this as an OBGYN. But luckily I did learn it, and I got my energy back. I helped my patients like Linda get their energy back, and I can help you get yours back. So by now you're probably wondering, what's the cost for this program? The 3 Weeks to Endless Energy program is valued at $499. But when you take advantage of this offer right now, it's going to be available to you for only $97. At $97, it's a no-brainer for you to get your energy back with this program. And guess what? I have special surprises. I love giving surprises. Well, I want to make sure that you have everything that you need to succeed. So I'm including my programs all about your thyroid and all about adrenal fatigue. These 2 programs have a $300 value, and you're going to get both of them as bonuses for signing up now for the Endless Energy program. I also wanted to make sure that you had what you need in terms of learning how to get to sleep. One of the biggest complaints I get is that I don't sleep well. So I don't sleep, so I don't have energy. So I couldn't not give you a bonus on my 7 top sleep strategies, so you know how to get to sleep fast and how to stay asleep. And finally, I've been talking about stress, all of these different stresses that you've got going on in your life. And we talked about the hidden physical energy stressors, zappers. But I want you to have more than that. I want you to have an anti-stress program. So I'm going to give you my top 7 techniques for getting rid of stress, for de-stressing. These 2 webinars are a $400 value, and they're yours free with the Endless Energy program, because I want to make sure that you have everything that you need to succeed. So because I want you to finally get results, I want to cut out the guesswork. I want you to know exactly what you need to do to get your energy back. And I want to help you get motivated, and I want to be there with you every step of the way. If I could make this any more of a no-brainer, I'm going to try. I'm going to let you try the program out for 30 days risk-free. If it's not the best program that you've ever had to help you increase your energy, then I want you to return it. I don't want you to own it. So give it back to me. No questions asked, no hassles. I want you to save your spot today, because if you've been here listening to me this long, odds are your energy is not where you want it to be. Either you're living at 60% capacity like some people that I know and told you about, or you feel like Linda, you feel like you should have had a lot more energy, but you don't. And if you feel like you need more energy to connect with people in your life, to truly have what you want, to live your best life, then it's time. It's time for you to sign up today. Secure your spot now, because you know what? We're closing registration in a few days because we've got to get started. Prep week is coming. I'm going to give you a week to get prepared, to get all the supplies that you need together for the program, and then we're starting. So that's why I've got to close registration in just a couple of days. So sign up now so that you don't forget, you don't let this opportunity pass you by, because I want to help you get endless energy, because endless energy equals boundless possibility. That's a picture of me in the desert of Dubai. I was invited to speak in Dubai, to teach doctors in Dubai about the things that I've learned. And that picture just reminds me of the fact that anything you put your mind to is possible, especially when you have endless energy. So I want to wish you the best of great health, the best of great happiness, and absolutely amazing energy. Click the button below to join me in the program, and I'll see you there.